Monopools, Svalbard, Madikwe, Chitaki, Amboseli. Those are some of the destinations I've been to in the last couple of weeks, and that's why these videos have been a bit more quiet than usual. It's time to get back right into it. My name is Gerry, I'm from Wild Eye, and this is episode 18 of the video series in which I answer your wildlife photography questions. So, it's been a hell of an exciting time for us at Wild Eye. We've been all over the place. I saw Marlon this morning for the first time in about, 6-7 weeks. Just got a message over here that Andrew touched down safely in Kenya. We are crushing it. It is exciting, it's going well, and all in all, the only thing that I haven't been able to get to is these videos. You'll see if you follow me on Instagram, I'm going to add the link down here for you. Go follow me right now. There's a lot of content going out there from the field. Videos, images, there are questions in which we're engaging about what kind of content you would like to see. So go and check it out. It's worth it. Instagram is the place to be. So follow me, follow Marlon, follow Wild Eye, and let's change the way we talk about wildlife photography, which gets us back to this video series. I'm sure you would have seen there's 17 episodes out by now. And sure, I think we must have answered about 5 or 6 hours worth of wildlife photography questions. The premise is simple. You ask a wildlife photography question and I will answer it for you. Simple as that. If I can't do it, I will pull in Marlon or Andrew or John or any other of the team in order to answer your questions for you. There are no rules. Anything goes. Gear, destinations, techniques, Lightroom processing. Go and check out episode 13. That was the Lightroom episode. We can talk ethics, we can talk guiding qualifications, whatever it is that you want to talk about and ask questions on wildlife photography, send your questions in and I will answer them for you. Enough of that, let's get right into episode 18. Let's go.
Wondrous Nature asked, what's your favorite African place to visit and take wildlife photographs? And which is the African animal you most like to photograph? And lastly, do you have a kind of bond with any of these animals you've ever photographed? Like, for example, Scarface or any other animal?
Wondrous Nature, this is a question that I get asked often, and I think Marlon and the guys do as well, because spending a lot of time out in the field and doing wildlife photography in many different destinations, people keep on asking, what's your favorite? And by extension also, what's your favorite animal to photograph? Looking at my images from the last couple of months, or if I backtrack it over the last couple of years, elephants do tend to come up a lot because for me, wildlife photography is two things, storytelling and interaction. Those are the things that I would like to portray in my images. So I find it very difficult to narrow it down to one subject and say, this is my favorite one. Also, I think the idea of interaction, whether it's elephant on elephant, whether it can be implied interaction, prey-predator, lion out of focus, zebra in the background. Those kind of things speak to me, and I think that's where the storytelling of wildlife photography really comes into itself. That's what I'm after. You mentioned, do I get a bond with any of the animals? Now, this is something, I know a lot of people like naming the animals. This is John, Bob, Sarah. Well, not quite like that. This is the four-ways males in Sabi Sands. This is the Kagala males in Madikwe. This is the Podile leopard, whatever the case is. I get that if people work in an area for a while, they want to name these things. For me, it's just a wild animal. I try and, from a wildlife photography point of view, and I'm sure many of you might disagree with this, I want to sit back and I want to document what I see. Yes, there's a certain creative part of it. Yes, there's a certain artistic part to it. But the natural documentary process for me means I almost have to disconnect myself from what I'm photographing. Not always easy, especially if it comes to things like cuteness, things killing each other, things fighting. It's very difficult not to form a bond. I mean, you mentioned Scar. It is an incredible cat, a wonderful lion up in the Mara Triangle. And yes, if I get the chance, I'll absolutely go back and photograph him. But the moment I get behind my camera, and that's what I'm shooting for myself, I will try and disconnect from the subject in order to best give you the final image and have you, my viewer of the image, create the bond. That's what I'm after. Do I enjoy photographing things like Scar and the key species? Hell yes, absolutely, it's awesome. But a bond is such, I try and steer away from, things like the four-ways males. We were up in the Sabi Sands now recently for our seminar. The four-ways males, which is two lions, have their own Facebook page. And I think they probably have more likes than Marlon and I combined. And people who have never seen these cats get childishly unhappy if you diss them, if you say anything bad about them. I think that's a dangerous line to walk. See what I did there? Sorry, I'm drinking coffee. We're going past this. So, thanks, Marlon. I try not to form a bond as such with the things we're photographing. I often get questions. You might photograph, for example, a young gazelle being killed by 2 cheetahs. You put that image out there and people ask you, why didn't you help? It's not my job to help. I document nature and I tell the stories through my images. So, recap. Favorite place? Very difficult. If I had to choose right now, Amboseli talks to me, always does. Just came back from Mana, that's incredible. If it's out of Africa, Svalbard, without a doubt, blows my mind every single time. Subjects, I can't choose. I'm going to stick to interaction. And what was the last one? Do I form a bond? I try not to. Yep, I think that's my 3 answers. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that.
Jordan asked, is it possible to do wildlife photography with a 200mm or 300mm lens, or is that not big enough?
Jordan, it's a very good question, this, and I think it's something a lot of people have to ask themselves, because the most negative part of wildlife photography, and I suppose different genres as well, is gear whoring. People going after the gear. They have better cameras, they're going to create better images. They're going to wildlife, they need bigger lenses to create better images. It's all rubbish. It doesn't work like that. You see, you ask about a 200 or a 300mm lens. That is ideal. I mean, the first lens, wherever I go, the first lens in the bag is my 7200. And that's whether I'm going to Amboseli, Mana, Madikwe, Svalbard, wherever I'm going, that's my first lens. You can create very nice animal and environment, landscape type shots, and you can also get quite close. But check this. I think the evolution of a wildlife photographer is people get into wildlife photography. It's awesome. They get a bigger lens. It's even more awesome. They spend their same amount as a bond on a house, and they get the biggest lens and the best camera out there. This is easy. It's easy to compose wildlife photography on a 600mm lens. You fill the frame, you fire. It's also very lazy, and I believe strongly that your storytelling capabilities on that becomes less and less and less. And I challenge a lot of you out there to go and look at your own work and check, look through your portfolio, and you will see there's a lot of tight shots. You have to agree with this. You have to. Because it's tight, tight, tight all the time. Try this. As a compositional tool, and Jordan, this comes back to your question, 300 is more than enough. Get the bigger lenses. Learn to shoot them, because you need long lens technique. Learn to shoot the 4, 5, and the 600s. But then back it up. Come back to 200. Even go to 70. Blow it out the water and shoot on 24 mils. Because the wider you go, the more you have to think about your composition. Where you put things in the frame, what you include and exclude, right? Take those skills and then progress back up to your telephoto stuff. That's when your composition is going to be stronger. Your storytelling is going to be stronger. And ultimately, I believe your portfolio will be the better for it because you're creating different types of images. So, Jordan, let me wrap it up again like we did in the previous one. Short answer or a short answer, whichever you prefer. A 200 or a 300mm is more than enough to photograph any wildlife anywhere.
Angela asked, what do you think of Mana pools? Almost went there last August when in Zimbabwe and Botswana.
Angela, thanks for the question. It's one that I've been getting a lot since coming back from Mana. How do I do this? Is it a great African wildlife destination? Absolutely. It's right up there with the best. Is it the very best African wildlife destination out there? I'm not convinced. Okay, now before all of you Mana pool people get very excited, Marlon's laughing. I hear him there. It's a great destination. It really, really is. The light is special. You have the elephants doing their tricks, reaching and standing and stuff like that, which is nice. Compositionally for me, what I found, and it comes back, I'm doing a talk next week at Nikon South Africa on composition in wildlife photography. And one of the things from Mana pools that stood out to me is it's very easy if you are not looking at the backgrounds on your images to have distracting vertical lines in the frame. Yeah, because all of the trees, the forest, and you have to play with that to include it in your frame without making it a distraction. Do I find Mana pools a place I'll go back to? Absolutely. I'll go there tomorrow again. I do think, and I understand why some people have what borders an unhealthy obsession with a place, is because they can get out of the car and walk. Now, that great as it is also, if you are making your decision purely based on you can go on foot and get close to these things, I can take you like that in Madikwe, Sabi Sands. I mean, we're qualified to walk. Marlon and I can do these things, and we can take you close to animals like that. So that equals it out for me. Is Mana pools, I mean, you mentioned you might have gone there in August or September. Go. If you can, get the chance, absolutely go. Monopools, great, great, great destination. Is it the best in Africa? I wouldn't go that far, but great, absolutely.
Brittany asked, did you have any training in the safari tour industry prior to beginning with Wild Eye, such as ranger training or guiding? Do you do much of that, or are the guides and rangers hired and you just talk about the photography side of things and the wildlife knowledge you have gained during previous shoots?
Brittany, I love this question. Thank you so much for asking this. It is something, if you watch the previous episodes, and please do, go and link back on this playlist and check all the other ones out. I'm a firm believer, and it's something we've implemented at Wild Eye, that every single one of our guides are qualified as field guides, and they have extensive experience. Marlon, how long have you been guiding for? How many years have you been guiding?
11 years.
Okay, so between Andrew, myself, and Marlon, we have in excess of about 35 years worth of guiding experience. This is, like you mentioned, this is taking people, not photographic.
It's about old Gerry, it's about 30.
Thanks. It's about, I'm 35. Marlon's so kind. I'll buy you coffee later. So we have spent the time in the field, not photographically, in the field, approaching animals, learning their behavior, knowing their behavior. And here's the key, taking responsibility for people's lives on game drives, on walks. We have paid our dues, and there's a lot of other people out there who have as well. However, there are also a lot of people who have not. And I strongly believe, very much so, that if you, as a photographic guide, are qualified and experienced, you will create a better experience for your guests, for your photographers. Now, when we go to a specific lodge, this is one of the questions you ask, we don't arrive there and play God and do everything and let the poor guy who's driving the car, the local field guide at the lodge, they just drive the car. No, they have local knowledge, and that's vitally important for us to find the animals, to know their behavior patterns and things like this. So it's vital for me to work with that person, even though I can do it myself, to work with that guy driving the vehicle and tap into his knowledge as well. I believe working together is what it's about. I mean, unfortunately, and I might go down a rabbit hole here for a little bit, the wildlife photography industry is very much based on ego. There's a shitload of it out there, guaranteed. It's all about who's got the bigger lens, who's got the best image, who won this competition. It's all rubbish. And a lot of people do not want to work together. That is why when we go to a lodge, I make a point of it, and I'm sure Marlon will agree to this as well. Before we start the drive, we arrive with our guests, I will go back of house and I will go chat to the local field guides, and I will make friends with them, meet up, see how they operate, and make them understand that they are a big part of the process. But, like I mentioned, we've done all of these things. We've spent time in the field, which now, even though we're now in the office and it's a beautiful office, we've done our time in the field, and that's where the value comes from for our guests. Anybody wanting to get into the industry, absolutely do your FAGASAs, do all the guiding qualifications, and spend more time in the field. That's what it's going to be about. So I think it's the wildlife knowledge gained while working out in the field. That's why our people get the shots. Well, it's that. And that we focus more on our guests than on ourselves, which many people don't. I said it out loud, Marlon. Oops, sorry. Off in the rabbit hole again. We focus on our guests getting the shot. And our experience and wildlife knowledge is only one of the reasons why that happens. Brittany, thank you. Great question. Great question. Right, guys, there you have it. Episode 18. Quick and easy. Couple of power questions. I quite like that one. That was good energy. Hey, Marlon, what do you think? It's good.
I'm inspired.
Marlon's inspired. I hope you are as well. No, let's get serious. I have episode 19 questions lined up. I'm more than likely going to shoot it in this week still. If you have questions, ask them to me. I would have given anything when I was starting out to have someone to ask these questions to. One of the things at Wild Eye is we're trying to take the intimidation away from it, from wildlife photography. Any question, please ask. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, check out my Facebook page, ask me your questions, and I will answer them for you. Now, for those of you that have been watching me for a while, I have a question for you. I received an email yesterday from, you might recall, I used to do a thing called Let's All Process the Same Raw File. Remember that? It's pretty good fun. The whole idea was that I post a blog in which I give you one of our raw files, unedited. You all then have the chance of editing that raw file, sending the final JPEG version back to me, and then once I have a couple, we'll give it like a week, I do a recap on the images you have processed. I do a bit of a crit on each of them, so you don't have to take it personally because it's not your image, but we can talk about how you process them, and then either Andrew, Gerry, or Marlon in the office will process that version live on a video. We put it out. Great learning exercise. Funny, yesterday I received one. So someone must have picked up this video. Stephen, thank you so much. I think it was Stephen. Thanks so much for that. I received a beautiful edit of an image that I posted like 4 years ago. That got me thinking, is this something you guys would want to see again? Do you want to do the same raw file series again? I can run it in conjunction with this. It's a great exercise. Great to see how different people interpret and process different images. So you guys let me know in the comments on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you're watching this. Just give me a yes and a no, whether you want to see the raw processing series again. It was good fun. I'll actually link up a couple for you in the comments here as well. This is on YouTube. Facebook, go to YouTube, check it out there. So that's quite a bit of fun. Anyway, other than that, what's the time now? It is, watch this, it's about 7:15 now. I've been at the office for 2 and a bit hours because we're getting shit done. We're not on holiday all the time. We work, but we love what we do, and that's why these videos will keep on coming up. If you have any questions, fire away. You have my contact details at the bottom of this. If you have any other wildlife photography questions or travel questions, get in touch. My name is Gerry. I'm from Wild Eye, and I will see you next time.